right. Well, hello and welcome, everybody. For the last session today, we have Martin Kousek and Stefan Prugger with us from Meusburger, and they're going to talk to us about leading change and the strategies that they use to ensure successful digital adoption. So, Martin and Stefan, for those in the audience who might be a bit unfamiliar, would you mind starting off by telling everybody a few words about Meusburger, your roles within the organization, and also how your roles were involved with ensuring digital adoption?
As Meusburger, we are a leading manufacturer of standard components and hot runner systems. Especially, we provide complete solutions for the mold, die making, and machine making industries. We are having about 60 years of experience. Supplying about 76 different countries with about standard parts catalog of about 100,000 components and parts, but also having a lot of different configured articles. We provide there for our customers about 110,000 components which are configured per year. That's having about 200 plus configurators on the web page. And about 1,400 employees, 300 million in revenue. So I myself, I'm head of digital business and e-commerce. Started with Meusburger in 2019 and started the project in 2020. And of course, you can't do anything alone. So Stefan then pretty much joined us. So.
Yeah, I'm Stefan, and I basically was fortunate to join Martin 2.5 years ago on this exciting, very interesting project. And my role was, or my mission was to come up with an internal development team. Back in the days, we were completely dependent on very good partners. They helped us a lot, but of course, as we make almost more than 50% of revenue digital, it makes totally sense that we build our own team inside the house, which we have achieved, and now we are in a very good position there. I know this might be a bit abstract, what Meusburger is doing, therefore we brought a video, and this is what we want to show to you guys.
That's great, let's play it.
So wake up.
That's great. I also think it's such a succinct video, but it's very illustrative. It really shows what the platform is about, and I was kind of looking at the partners also in the audience, kind of being quite proud of seeing the video. What would you say was the initial trigger or business need that set Meusburger on its a digital transformation path?
Yeah, I mean, we were always a little bit of a digital pioneer. It was in the late 1990s where digitalization was not even a topic yet, but we started with classical CD-ROM catalogs and providing customers with specific data because it was so needed in their processes and stuff like that. Then went online early 2000s, added more languages, added currencies, added configured assistance as needed. So there was no revolution there because we did it for 20 years. We always provided with every updates of our products, which were 4 times a year. We provided new functionality as well. But yeah, as always, after 20 years, systems get old, systems break down or making problems. So we had there another problem. So it was not that much driven by necessity of digitization, but it was a necessary of systems to make everything anew. And yeah, we have today about 55% digital revenue, so quite good for us, I think. And this was our major need for this project.
Understood. So basically, an eventual need to replace the outdated legacy system in order to make more out of your e-commerce channel.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. How did you build internal alignment and buy-in for your digital transformation?
Yeah, as Martin already mentioned, so e-commerce was always a kind of a key revenue driver already. So from our perspective, it was more a re-platforming project than a real transformation. But back at the time, the company was growing extremely fast, and so we had to do our homework first. So that means we had to fix our ERP issues, we had to fix logistics. So having all the base that you need in order to be able to fulfill in a certain kind of manner. And then we started to build on top of that our e-commerce platform, our new e-commerce platform. From an organizational perspective, we are a very manufacturer-driven company. So we used to work in a lot of those silos, and this project was really breaking all these silos. And this is still kind of the transformation phase within the company, but it really helped us a lot that all those silos broke, and in the end it's a matter of people working together, no matter in which department they are located. So breaking those silos was really one of the main internal alignments that we did.
Mm-hmm.
And we had some kind of both top-down and bottom-up approach, because we had from top management the completely alignment. We did it at first that for the first project we did really fast a click dummy, brought it to discussion, getting aligned with the top management where we want to go, and therefore built the trust that we did know what we were doing. But on the other hand, we had the bottom-up approach that with this trust we were able to just work with all department, breaking all that down, so we could rethink everything what we did for 20 years, rethink completely anew how we would do it today with the experience we have gained, and we could do it with sales, with product, with IT, with logistics, with all the most important departments. And the trust was even so much that our owner, which was there for the click dummy and discussed with us, then went a step back and trusted us to went along, program, did with the steering committee all these important steps. And about 1 week before we let the first customers on the first system, then he came to us and said, "Hey, can I have a login? I want to see what you have done for the last month." But there was so much trust that he just let us do our work and trusted that we know what we are doing.
That's great. So you had a clear strategic vision and trust from the top. It helped that e-commerce had already proven its worth, having already been like a key revenue driver for you guys, right? And also the fact that you built healthy foundations, right? You strengthened your European logistics first, so all of these things must have helped. All right. There must have been, however, some resistance or objections coming in from like different roles or different departments. How did you overcome that? Yeah,
as in every project, there was some kind of resistance. Sales, for example, they were afraid they're going to be replaced, and products was afraid of the workload, and we overcome by communicating, explaining the why it's important for the company as a whole to go down that road. From the customer perspective, it was not that much of complicated because they already knew that we were able to build and provide great services online, because we were not only a commerce part, we have configurators, we have really tools that help our customers doing their work. But we knew we could do better, and then we did. So from that perspective, we knew already, okay, there won't be too much resistance. We're going to shut down the last legacy system by next week. And of course, there are still some that needs to be transformed, but it's not that much anyway. And also from the sales perspective, sales was included very, very early in the process. They were always been part of it, and they started also to use the tool before the other guys. So they knew right from the start that this will be an enhancement that we add to them, and not a replacement.
Okay. So clear communication, change ambassadors within the sales team, ensuring they don't see this as competition, but as something enhancing their work and complementary to their work. What else do we have here? The fact that the customers were starting to see the results and they were really liking them.
Exactly.
Yeah, all right. How did you foster a culture of change? So I would imagine some of these things that you mentioned would have helped with that, but is there anything in addition to it?
Yeah, what we had to do is the e-com team was pretty isolated at the very beginning, so they were part of the product. And since it's an art that is touching so many different departments, we moved it to IT because it was a very tech-driven project until now, and still going to be. But from IT, it was easier to work cross-functional with the other departments. What helped a lot is that we had a lot of different aisles, so we had different shops, CAD and so on, and now almost everything has been moved into one platform, so that helps a lot to foster the culture. I mentioned before that that the sales department was already included in the project, so they acted as change management ambassadors towards the customer, and they reflected a lot of the feedback to us, which also helped us driving forward the change. In addition, I think what was very, very helpful at the very beginning, it was, as Martin mentioned already, making things transparent and clickable. And at the very beginning, we had a Google Design Sprint where we found basically a base where everyone could look at and everyone could put his opinion on top. And what we did is we tried to come up with a quick win. So we had our KISS system. It stands for Customer Information System, where the customer can see all his orders and offers and so on. This was not that complicated to implement back then, but it showed that we are on the right platform. It showed that we had chosen the right partners, and it showed also in the company that we are able to deliver. And by achieving those quick wins and celebrating them, they can really build some acceptance.
Mm-hmm. So really explaining the why and the benefits, and also in addition to maybe what you said previously, condensing all the shops into more or less one platform.
Exactly.
Okay, all right. How do you involve your customers in the development of your platform?
I mean, we did include selected customers right from the beginning. Even before we did anything, as mentioned, Stefan mentioned already, we did this first click dummy in the first week with a Google Design Sprint, and then even then discussed very early this click dummies with a selected group of customers, got their feedback, tried to involve from there, get their feedback on functions, on processes, how they should work for them. We then also included at this point the FH Vorarlberg, the UX UI department, so to get another view into and discussing with them the UX UI of the platform, and did this step-by-step approach. So it was first the customer information system, and then it was another click dummy from the shop, and at each step we got feedback, built that in, got then this platform out, did something new, in this time got new feedback, wove that in, and our customers do not see this as a normal shop. They're using it in their daily work. So it was for us extremely important to get the portal to a state where this is a tool for our customers. They use that to construct their work. So they use it, they have it open 8 hours a day sometimes. So we knew that from the beginning, so we included them so that their processes can run as smoothly as possible.
Okay, so early inclusion of trusted clients. In some case, other very qualified professionals. In your case, it was academia, right? To get these insights and basically use that to test and shape your platform and then reiterate.
Yeah.
Anything else you wanted to add to that?
No, I mean, it was very important for us to get all these views, so that we don't, because we have a lot of customers out there. It's really a lot of small customers with different approaches, and so to get as much views in there is important for us to get all these different roles also working.
And you were also telling me, Martin, if I may share this, that at some point you're thinking of like widening maybe the funnel for receiving this feedback to also include potentially other customers as well, just again to be so inclusive in your collection.
It's this step-by-step approach. Get some customers on, going the next step, getting the next things out, getting new customers on, get new voices in there. This was important for us.
Exactly. Thank you. Can you share a few maybe tools or communication strategies, training methods maybe, that have helped you onboard your team? So anything that you have found to be particularly effective?
Yeah, some of the tools I already mentioned, so the Google Design Sprint, being as transparent and open and communicative as possible, see the portal as a partner and not as a competition. And I also mentioned the value of the sales department, and they use the sales agent as their everyday tool, which really helped us a lot. And there's another perspective on this question, which is development. And I mentioned before we had great partners, and we were starting this whole project with Tova, which was great. And then further down the road, we added Antiloop as a second partner. And we also built, as I mentioned before, our own internal team. And if you have to orchestrate 3 different development teams, that is, of course, something that might be really, really different. Therefore, you need to have a good documentation also there, a really good maturity level from all of these 3 partners. And I think also there, good team spirit, explaining the why, that helps also across different vendors and ourselves.
Understood. Thank you. Right, we have 2 more questions. And the next one I would like to ask is, how do you know it's worked? In other words, how do you measure the success of your digital adoption efforts so far? Do you think there are any KPIs or milestones or feedback cycles that are more valuable?
Well, the most obvious KPI that we are talking about is doing 55% of the overall revenue through digital channels, and I think that's quite impressive, and it really proves that we are on the right track there. And there are some other KPIs that we like to look at. One of those we call happy flow rate, and the happy flow rate is basically the automation rate that we have from the order placing into the factory. And you have to keep in mind that we have a lot of configurable items. So you saw it in the video, there are a lot of options just for a simple plate. The plate is not simple, I can tell you. And since we have so many options, we have also a lot of business logic. And we basically placed all this logic that was only available in the ERP now into the Spryker touchpoint. And this helps us gaining a lot of efficiency, because previously, all of those configurations that were requested by customers, they need to go to internal sales, then internal sales ask internal tech guy, then it goes back to the customer, something might not work, and so on. So there's a lot of work going on until the customer gets what he wants. Now, with all this validation that we have on the touch point, almost everything can be automated. And now we are at a level where basically 80% of all configurations can go directly without any manual interference to the factory. And I think that is also a very, very good achievement. If you take into account also the regular parts, then we have a happy flow rate about 96% and 96% order processing without manual interference. That is quite an achievement.
I think it really is impressive. I wish people really appreciate just how much that 80% means. So these orders before, they were done with manual intervention, a lot of resources from Meusburger. All of these 80% of orders, they're now done without any manual interaction of any sort. It's completely automated at Meusburger. So it is indeed very impressive. Okay, final question for you. Oh, sorry, I think you wanted to add maybe something around the milestones.
Yeah, you wanted me to say something about the milestones in the question. So we went with the customer information system, as I already mentioned, live in 2021, and then began to write into the shop. So we could start then with an internal go live in 2023, and as Stefan already mentioned, we started only with internal sales department. That means we kept everything in the sales agent, gave them the ability and also a little bit the need that everything what's come in per email and what in this should try to audit for the customer over the portal. So we got the bugs out, we got a lot of feedback in this point, could improve the platform to a stage where I say we were very good, and then we started a closed beta, which means the internal teams could get some of the customer groups in there, could help them go on the platform in parallel to the old systems, get to know it. Also again, like say, step-by-step approach. So it was a learning for the sales team, how to get to the customer. It was a learning for the customer, what we are doing. So it was a lot of change going on there. Then we got in fall of 2023, we made the beta open, so every customer was able to get on the old system, on the new system alike, could get to know the new UX, could do new stuff. Yeah, and beginning of this year, we could shut the old website down, also one of the old shops, and replaced it complete, go on the main domain with that, and therefore ended the beta officially, and had then some time to get some additional stuff out, get the configurators which were missing, some of them ready, and finally, yeah, and like Stefan mentioned, in 1 week we will shut down the old system, and then we are completely ready and having all the features on the new platform.
Exciting times, that's great. All right, last question for you. Data analysis, what role does this play in your decisions today?
It plays a crucial role. Sorry, it plays a crucial role for us, and we were very driven by opinions, and we will turn into more data-driven decisions. That we were basically working on basis of opinions was okay so far, because we've been working in a replatforming project. So there was already a lot of experience there, and we knew basically what works, what doesn't work, and based on that was totally fine. But we were always in the phase of of building a web shop, and now more and more we will turn into operating the web shop, and there, of course, data-driven decisions are absolutely key. As in B2C businesses, it's totally normal, and we will take a lot of these methods over and adapt them for our B2B approach. So building up shop operations teams, doing more in analytics, A/B testing, personalization, and so on. Also a nice example, I was mentioning all the configurators. So we also track the configurations that we cannot fulfill for some reason. And it might also turn out, for example, that some of these configurations, they are requested more frequently. And so this might then turn into a new product for some, because the market asks for it. So data is absolutely key, and it's getting more and more important to us.
So it's important to pay attention to this data and to collect it. So key role.
It's a new currency, yeah.
And
yes.
It's another voice of the customer.
Yeah.
Makes sense. All right. Thank you very much, both. We're not done yet. We're just going to open up for questions for a few minutes. So if there are any questions from the audience, this is your chance to raise your hand up. Someone's going to come to you, give you a mic. And then we're going to come back here and just quickly wrap up. I think maybe Stefan has a question there.
So I understand you have really outstanding configurators. Great video, by the way. I love it.
Thank you.
Very, very short, to the point. How do you envision the future of configurators?
I think in our industry, the configurators are crucial, and therefore we have to have the right rule sets in place for that. It can't be that the customer has something ordered which is not functioning, etc. We also have a lot of we call it assistance. That means that you can combine different elements, different components in the right way, and we guarantee for it that whatever you configure will work. And we enrich that now then at some point also with configuration. That means it gets more and more complex, but it gets easier for the customer. So our goal is to make something which is complex, easy for the customer, and from the rule sets much that it cannot nothing happen to him. And if something happens, we are the ones to blame for. So it's easier for them, and some of the responsible that this is working, we can provide for him. So we'll be happy about that, I think.
I just want to add something. So our assistants, basically, they are a set of standard parts. And the idea is that we combine those standard parts with configured items, but still keeping all the business logic available. And this is something that no one of our competitors is capable of. So we see a lot of potential in the configurators here.
Thanks for the question. Is there another one? Yes, please.
Yeah, so I totally agree. The configurator is really impressive that you have built up. What I would be interested in, how did you set up the project for enhancing the product data to be able to deliver such a high quality configurator? Did you need to convince your engineers, and so how did that work? Because that is usually the struggle a lot of B2B companies have.
From the product, it was not hard to convince them, because product has a lot of ideas on how to configure the products. I think the challenge was more from a tech perspective, because we had to deliver around 200 configurators within half a year. And our approach was to build a kind of a meta configurator, so basically where we were able to configure the configurators. And that really helped us a lot, and I think that is one of the most impressive things when it comes to developing those configurations. And that also helps us because it's so flexible that also new product ideas can be easily integrated, up to some extent of course, in our existing framework.
And you can change therefore extremely rapidly if something comes up with the rule sets. You can change without any developer in reality. You just have to get the new formula in, do a deployment, and so the product is very flexible on that as well.
Okay, that's great. Thank you very much, and thanks for the question as well. If there are any further questions, feel free to just approach Stefan or Martin directly after this. Now, I would just like to wrap up quickly, if I may. So, what have we learned today, right? That Meusburger has been extremely successful in leading change and ensuring digital adoption. And that success can, in large brushstrokes, can be attributed to the items that you see there. So evolving continuously, right? Treating digital as an ongoing journey, not a one-time effort or a revolution. Fixing the basics first. In your case, you strengthen ERP and logistics before scaling the digital channels. Breaking silos, so embedding e-commerce into cross-functional teams for real alignment. And also co-creating with customers, involving trusted clients first, maybe also with the addition of qualified professionals, right, to shape and also test the new platform, and also the continuous improvement aspect. So measuring and optimizing, tracking those digital KPIs, and using the insights to automate processes, but also shift to more and more data-driven decision-making. So I'd like to thank you for these insights, and I think a lot of people in the audience found them very valuable. And I really appreciate you taking the time to come here today and to walk us through all of this. Thank you very much.